It's Friday, August 3rd of 2018, and this will be the first Guy's Daily Drive, I believe, ever, where I haven't mentioned MacStock. Well, except for right there, of course. And good almost start to the weekend. This is Guy's Daily Drive, and it is Friday. I am so pleased that it's Friday. You know, I started this, and I really didn't know what it was I wanted to talk about, at least in the beginning. And just before I started, there was a bus waiting at a stoplight that said Life Water. Now, I don't know exactly what Life Water is, but I'm guessing that if you had to make a determination on what Life Water is, it's expensive water that is all natural, with no artificial preservatives or sweeteners, which is the kind of thing that would draw some people to it, even though by its very nature, water is all natural with no artificial preservatives or sweeteners. You know, people that are in marketing can take almost any product and turn it completely around from what it is, or sometimes exaggerate portions of what it is to make it sound even better, to make you sit there and go, wow, I need some of that because I want this sort of thing in my life. You know, like Life Water. Life Water. I want to drink all natural water, so I should get Life Water because that's what the ads say. It's all natural. And it's like, you know, that's supposed to be what water is. Now, the water you get out of your tap, depending on where you live, is not all natural water. It's typically treated in some form or fashion. Some places put in a minute amount of chlorine or a minute amount of fluoride or some other, you know, it's been treated in one way or another to make it, I guess, neutral balance. And my father used to work as an engineer at a wastewater treatment plant. And the plant that he worked at would basically, it was a sewage treatment plant. You know, all the sewage would come in and it would be some pretty nasty, smelly stuff. I mean, I did a report on it when I don't even remember how old I was, and spent the day there kind of like, oh, this is really, really bad. And apparently, according to my father, there were some days that were much worse than others. And I would guess that one of the variables would be how hot it is, because there seems to be nothing that brings out the stink more than heat. So he worked at this wastewater treatment plant, and they would get all of this sewage in, and it would go through various filtration layers, and would get out, you know, I mean, first it would get out all of the solid particulates, and we don't need to go into what that is. And then there would be, it's starting to rain, then there would be some chemicals added to reduce the other kinds of, waste particulates again that occur naturally. And eventually, when you got to the very end of the process, you would have a glass of water that had been chemically treated and filtered that you could drink. And this water normally would be put right back into the system again. And it always fascinated me how you could take something that started out just so foul and end up with something that you could drink. Well, this is the nature of how wastewater treatment plants work. The only other variable, and again, a lot of this depends on where you live, the only other variable might be that instead of it going right back into the system again, instead it's put back into natural lakes, reservoirs, rivers, what have you. So where it's taken out all the bad stuff, all the human bad stuff, and put in, for lack of a better term, human good stuff. The chemicals and stuff that they use. But if people really thought about where what that water had once been, then I don't know if they would still drink it. And there are worse places than this. You got all the issues in Flint, Michigan, with high concentrations of lead, and I'm not going to go into that whole political hoo-ha-ha. But the water that comes out of the tap in most places is suitable to drink. It doesn't necessarily mean that you would actually want to drink it, or if you knew how it had been treated, that it would be something that you would want to ingest. However, you could, and a lot of people do, have a water service where for a certain amount of money per month, they bring you what they like to call spring water. Now, just because it says it's spring water doesn't necessarily mean that it is directly out of a spring. Because where do you think that water comes from? That water also comes from lakes and rivers and reservoirs that have filtered down through the sediment and made its way to wherever the origin of that spring is. I mean, you wouldn't, if you're a hiker and you're walking along a trail and you get thirsty, so you stop at a nearby flowing river. Never, actually, this is important, never drink standing water, ever. I don't care how thirsty you are, don't drink standing water. That is just not a good idea. And you can just Google drinking standing water and you will find out all kinds of the horrible things that could happen to you for doing so. You only want to drink water that has a natural flow to it. So anyway, you're hiking and you come across a river and you're thirsty and you go to drink and you think, natural water, yeah. Except you're not the only one using that river, whatever that you're drinking from. All the local animals drink from it too. A lot of the local animals also urinate in that river. And of course, that's not to mention all the fish that live out their entire lives doing everything that a living creature can do right in that flowing water that you think is just so great. But it is natural. So what's the answer? The answer is don't worry about it. Seriously, you know, there are worse things that you can do than to drink from an otherwise clean river or flowing source of water. Or, of course, you can buy bottled water instead for an exuberant amount of money. If you'd like to get a hold of me, I need to test this one. Try me at guy@mttfgo.com. In a future Guy's Daily Drive, I'm going to talk about some of the websites that I have and what I think I'm going to do in the future, but not today. So try me at guy@mttfgo.com. I'm going to try that myself later today and make sure that it still works. But really, the best way to get a hold of me is on the Twitters, where my handle there is MacParrot. If you could, please leave a review in iTunes for Guy's Daily Drive. I don't think I have any yet. I haven't checked it, but yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you do, I don't know if I'll do a Woody, which is what I do for the MyMac.com podcast. I will have to do something else to give thanks to all those who do a iTunes review for Guy's Daily Drive, which is the audio version. You can, of course, watch this. If you're listening to the audio version, you can watch this on the YouTubes. There's always links through Twitter and Facebook for Guy's Daily Drive in both forms. So with that in mind, I will say thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for downloading. And I will see you next time. Boy, I'm thirsty. On Guy's Daily Drive.